And we are back in Adam. What the frick with the react? Hope you guys are all doing well, though. The obvious talking point today is a giant question for all of you in the comments section. Does Sentinels pay the price for TenZ? Rumors out there, what Shroud has alluded to, what Fion has also alluded to, that being a $1 million buyout. Before we break that down and truly ask you guys and give our thoughts, let's play some clips of Shroud reacting to that said buyout. Will Sentinels pull the trigger? Will Cloud9 allow them to? A lot of different questions. So here's what Shroud had to say.
5.
Yeah, he was farming.
They were trying to activate BB
On the Cypher roll too. I mean, come on.
Come on, let's go, Dapper. Here's what I worry. Okay, hear me out. I worry that Sentinels cannot afford a buyout for TenZ. Then what happens?
They don't buy him out. What do you mean?
No, but like,
who do they get? Is that what you're asking?
no, I'm thinking like, does C9 just like chill and they go, all right, well, we'll take your best offer, like, you know what I mean? Does C9 do Sentinels a solid, or does C9 sit there and go, we own you, TenZ?
We own you, TenZ.
Good luck. You know, like, what do they do?
Good luck. Here, Sentinels is gonna need 20 mil to buy you out.
Okay, relax. I don't know. After that, I think so.
Maybe. It's still, that's an up in the air thing. I'm sure he'll announce that. Secondly, does Sen want him to be the permanent fifth? After winning that, probably, but who knows? It's a team decision. They got to talk about it. Thirdly, does C9 want to let go of TenZ for a measly amount of money? Probably not, because he's worth a lot, especially right now. Fourthly, wait, what's the fourth one?
I don't know. What is the fourth one?
There's a fourth one. I don't know, dude. There was a fourth one that I had in my head. Standard like setups go and like
so he'll take
doing things together.
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah. Sentinels is just ready. They're ready. Ready to get this dub, ready to move on, ready to pick up TenZ. $1 million buyout.
Gets nothing. Look at the rotate and the setup.
And then obviously the big question to us, when you bring in, let's just assume it is $1 million this early on in a Valorant space, what, right around the year mark of the game being introduced, obviously fastly growing, but $1 million buckaroos, guys.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of freaking cash. To give you guys a reference point, this is actually equivalent to the old Simple buyout before he re-signed to Na'Vi, if you guys are not Counter-Strike fans, and that's Simple, right? I mean, the best of the best when it comes time for Counter-Strike, widely regarded as the best in the world, if not top 2 year in and year out. So put that in perspective for this early on in Valorant. Are you willing to pay the $1 million price tag plus salary for a guy like TenZ?
I was going to say that's an interesting comparison because Simple had such a track record at that point versus, you know, this, like you're saying, is so new. It's Valorant. Like, we have no idea. I mean, next season he might be awful, you know? You don't know how he's going to keep competing this whole time.
I mean, we assume he's a nutty young talent.
Right.
And again, there's so many question marks around this because does he want to compete full time? Does he want to be a streamer? Do they see value in him being a streamer and content creator for $1 million buyout?
It's tough, and that's one of those things that puts Cloud9 in a really weird spot.
Oh, yeah.
Because if he does want to play again, it's clear he doesn't want to play with C9.
Yes.
So if you're C9, you do run the risk of looking like a villain if you just hold him hostage and, you know, don't negotiate with any teams. And you're just like, you're going to sit out the remainder of your, we would assume, because of how, when he was signed, at least another year, maybe 2 years on a contract. But at the same time, if you're Sentinels, there's a dream scenario for you. And who knows how things go with Sinatra. Let's say Sinatra gets cleared somehow. No idea that'll happen or not, but if Sinatra got cleared and you could get TenZ, you would have 2 of the top 3 Valorant players, period. Like, they're both considered to be like absolute like S tier players, and to
I
have
guess
them
when
both
you
on one
say
team is wild.
in North America, and not only are they two of the best in North America, but they're also the biggest personalities. And again, that leaves so many open-ended questions with the ongoing investigations. If he were to be found guilty, can you still even afford TenZ? If he is cleared, do you want them both? Do you want one or the other? Do you bring back Sinatraa and put someone else away because you want the Wombo combo if Sinatraa and TenZ is possible? When it comes down for $1 million buckaroos though, plus God knows what he's going to be asking for salary, if you're in Sentinel's shoes, is he really worth the investment? Could this be the 10 years from now Faker where he becomes your brand? Like, and then again, if you're a guy like TenZ, who's to say he's not just like, you know what? I came back, won the first Masters event. I'm going to go back to streaming. Can he do that content creation and streaming for a couple of years and then come back in the cycle? A lot of pros think not, but I mean, we're so early on, all these meta shifts, all these team changes. There are so many open-ended questions.
I mostly wonder, like you said, if they can afford both of them. You know, in the long run, if Sinatra's cleared and they try to sign TenZ, are they going to be able to have two of the top, players in Valorant? And also, is C9 going to let them have two of the top players?
Yeah,
in
that's the
Valorant?
other thing. It's C9 for whatever reason seems like they're willing to play ball in terms of lending out what is probably their best Valorant player, which almost certainly is their best Valorant player, to what is a rival in a team. And so you imagine they've got to at least want to negotiate, but it's also Sentinels, as we've discussed like around the office before, no one really knows where their financing is. Just that they have some deep pockets. They pulled Sinatraa, who was Overwatch's biggest player, pulled him at the start of a season, just snagged him. We know that they paid Booga a huge amount of money. XQC was with them for quite some. He eventually got kind of bought away by LG, but they had the money to afford him in the first place. It's a wild thing to think about. So they definitely have deep pockets. We just don't know where those pockets come from.
Here's what I think. I think this is what's going to happen. Big guesses here. I think C9 just increased their value of investment on TenZ by a lot. He goes out and shows up in his performance with Sentinels.
Best case scenario for Cloud9.
Right, exactly. They increased his value so much just by letting him go on loan pretty much.
And they got
now they can build a whole team around him if they want to. This one guy who,
the problem is, I don't think he wants to play for him.
I don't think he wants
because he had a starting role. He was their number one player, and he's like, I'd rather not play for you and just stream. So it seems crazy to me that they would invest around him that way, only because he's walked away from a team built around him before. Like, that was TenZ's team, and when he left, it was obvious. Like, that team took a big hit.
Yeah, I think Cloud9 evidently put themselves in a best case scenario, but they also, being Cloud9,
it's kind of a best case, worst case.
Yeah, I mean, they are certainly surrounded by, when it comes time for contractually signed pros, they are definitely not in the best limelight. I think is a fair statement. And so now all of a sudden, you can charge a big price tag, but if you don't play ball and if you don't let TenZ go for, a high price but a reasonable one, you all of a sudden can have that flip on you and you're the villain already again.
Yeah, and like we were saying, we've heard from people, we don't know if it's true or not, there's a $1 million buyout. And hopefully, like we've talked about before, like variable buyouts are a rarity in the upper echelon because most decent contract lawyers would never allow anyone they represent to sign them. But this is esports and anything is possible. So if they're not only willing to go for $1 million, but if they have one of those terrible player contracts where they can raise a buyout,
I think it's $1 million.
I think you're right. I think it's just stuck at $1 million.
I think we're better off to assume that TenZ's legal team probably looked this over a few times.
You would imagine. He's been around the game long enough.
And so for easy sake, let's end on this. Let's assume it's $1 million. You get him, plus you got to pay a fat salary. Are you paying that a year into Valorant? I don't even know if I want an explanation. But it's kind of hard to give you an answer without an explanation. I think I'm actually leaning towards no. My main proponent being, is he really dedicated to being a long-term pro player as compared to content and streaming? No offense to TenZ, he's nutty as frick, but these are the kind of financial moves you make that make or break you in the future. For me, $1 million plus salary, I'm probably leaning towards no.
I'm gonna go with yes, because I think from a PR marketing perspective for Sentinels, drop Sinatraa, don't have to deal with that PR anymore. You have reason to. I'm sure you could break contract with them because of all the allegations, everything that's coming out. Pick up TenZ. You have a great team.
I think I'm also just slightly leaning yes for a similar reason.
That was a good answer.
I think he's a great insurance policy because if you drop Sinatraa, if you get it for like a morals clause in his contract, you don't have to pay it out. All of a sudden that frees up more capital, and if it's a $1 million buyout, Valorant's in a weird place right now where it's young, and like the events are all kind of capping it around 100K or 150K for the most part, but there are a ton of events. Like teams play in like 2 events a week sometimes for like 25K to 50K payouts. So while you won't recoup it like by winning in a year or two, if you combine how many events there are, how many chances he has to earn, how good he is, and then the fact that he has a streaming presence that can like push your brand,
Yeah.
I think it might be worth it. But the big thing here would be, what is his contract with C9 paying him? Because when you buy out someone's contract, you take that contract on. You aren't necessarily going to renegotiate. So if C9 signed him to a very favorable contract, like maybe C9 signed him to like 100K a year. And at that point, well, you're $1 million buyout, but for 100K a year in salary, that seems like really worth it to me. So I think a lot of it depends on what his actual Cloud9 contract was,
Yeah.
buyout or not.
Yeah, those details certainly do matter. So it's 2 for yes, 1 me closer to no. I probably had the wrong answer. You know what? Frick it. What do you guys think? Should Sentinels pay the price tag plus salary for TenZ? Will they? Will Cloud9 let them? A lot of questions in the air. We'll catch you guys back here for the next one. Until then, take care.